Hello and welcome to another short tutorial from Crawley College. This one is all about using tabs in Microsoft Word. As you can see, I've got a sample document on the screen with information laid out in neat tidy columns all starting at the same point. You can see that there again over here, and all the numbers are lined up nicely. I could have done that with a table. I'd probably have to sort out the top row by merging the cells, and I'll have to hide the grid lines and so on. If I wanted to add some more, I've got to find the next cell, add more rows and so on if I needed more space for extra information. But with this I can do it entirely differently with tabs. If you look at the top of the screen or just above the document, you've got a ruler on the screen, as it's called. Now this should normally be on the screen, but if it's not there, go to the View tab at the top, click that, find the option here just left of centre that says ruler. That tick is an on-off switch. If I click there, take tick away, the ruler disappears. If I click it again, it comes back and it's there for me to use. And if you look on that ruler, you've got little markers every inch, or sorry, centimetre, and every half centimetre. And if I press the tab key on my keyboard, my cursor, you can see it's flashing here. I'll scroll that up the screen a bit so you can see next to the ruler where it goes. If I press tab, it goes to the built-in tab positions. A tab is a starting point for text. I'll use backspace to come back to where I started from, remove those tab instructions that I've entered, and I will need the home tab for what I want to show in a moment, so I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to scroll back down a bit so you can see the content again. I'm simply going to type up a couple of the lines, just repeat what's up there. But the way I do it and get it lined up is by putting my own tab stops on the ruler, and then when I press tab, rather than go to the built-in ones as we saw, and I said there were instructions, if I use this button here to show the information, you can see two little arrows. You can see there's already some existing ones at the top. Each of these is instruction that says tab to this next point. So if I use the backspace key to remove them, I'm back to having none on this row. I'll turn those off again. Now, if you look at the ruler and then go all the way across to the left of the screen, you've got this box here with what looks like an L in it. It's not actually an L, it's the left corner of something, if you will, and it's a tab for a left tab, a button for a left tab I should say, because you're looking at the tab well. If I click on the tab well, it offers me something else, which is a center tab. So the text I put on one of those would be lined up in the center, and as I typed it would go left and right as appropriate by the same amount. If I click it again, the tab well offers me a right tab, so text will be lined up on the right. Click it again and I get a decimal tab, which is used for lining up numbers, as you might imagine. I can keep on clicking. There are a couple of other options, but we're not going to be using those. The next one sounds like more fun than it is. It's a bar tab. It allows you to jump across something to another point on the screen. If I click on it again, I've got the bottom of the two indentation arrows. It's the same thing. I click again, I've got the top of the two arrows there, or triangles if you will. If I click again, I'm back to my left tab. So what I do is I click on the tab well till the type of tab that I want is on view. To start with, I want a left tab. Now my first bit of text is on the left of the page. That's fine, I'm happy with that, I'll start there. But then I want my next column to start over here somewhere. So as long as I've got the right sort of tab showing on the tab well, if I go onto the ruler and then just click on it in the bottom half of the white bit, sort of below the dots if you will, when I click, I'll go over here somewhere so I'm not getting in the way of that, I've now got a left tab set for me. So that's going to be useful for the text for this second column. Now the numbers on the right, I want to line them up nicely on the decimal points. All decimal places and stuff are appropriately aligned. So I'm going to click on the tab well a few times until the decimal tab appears. There it is, the upside down T with the dot on it. And I'm going to click over here and let's say about there, and I've now got a decimal tab ready to contain that information or line up that information. So now all I've got to do is type in my first piece of information, which is WI, and I press tab on my keyboard. It jumps to my own tab rather than the built-in ones. Lady of the Jumble Sale, so I'll type that in, press tab, and I go to the right where I want to put the price in, and that was £200. Now when you press enter, Word remembers the tabs and puts them in on the next paragraph that you're creating. So there we go, ready to do the next one, and that's the Gardening Association. Try and type properly. And I press tab, and I'm lined up nicely with the previous item for the activity. Press tab, I'm across to the price, and that's £150, and I'm ready to do the third one. Oh, I missed out the drama group, never mind, I'll put that in now. And just to confuse people, they did the plant stall. Doesn't really matter. When I press tab, that's only £50. But because it's all lined up on the decimal point, the numbers are nicely lined up. I press enter, my tabs are still on the ruler. If I don't need them anymore, I just click and hold on a tab and drag it into the document. Just throw it away, just drag and let go. Same with that one. They've now gone, but they're still there on the existing data. You can see on the ruler they're still sitting there. I'll just sort out that spell check requirement. There we are, sorted out. So now I've got information lined up exactly how I want it, without putting lots of spaces in between things and all that sort of thing. Which means that if I need to move things, it's very easy as well. Say I want this price further to the right, well, I just click in the line that contains the price and click and hold on the tab, and staying on the ruler, just drag it sideways, and you can see it moves the content. Like I said, a tab is a starting point for text. But I need to do the others as well. It's not a problem. If I pick all the rows I want to play with, highlight them all, I can drag the tab, and when I go sideways, they all work in exactly the same way. Oops, I'll come on through. There we are. Back a bit. There we are, lined up on the previous one. I let go. I want all the ones in the middle further to the right, so I'm going to pick all three lines, drag that tab further to the right. Very quick, very easy way of reorganizing and getting a nice balanced layout across the page. Something else you can do with tabs are things called dot leaders. Very useful for things like price lists. I've got one of those waiting to go. If I go to find that other document, there we are. I've now got a price list for my little cafe I run in my spare time. So let's recreate that list. And these dots are what I'm trying to set up. You might see those on a table of contents perhaps, or something like that. To do this, I need to set up tabs in a slightly different way. So I'm going to go to the paragraph setting here and click on the dialog launcher button in the corner. Many of these boxes have got these dialog launchers. They give you more tools than you initially see on the screen. So if I click onto here, I've got lots of things I can do with my paragraphs, but in the bottom left hand corner there's a button that says tabs. Now I can type in where I want my tabs to be. So say I wanted my list to start at about 2.5. Well, I'll make sure I've clicked in the tab stop position box. I've done that, it's flashing there for me. 2.5, it puts the CM on the end of it for me. And I choose what sort of tab I want. I don't have to look up here like I did before. I've got them all listed here: left, center, right, decimal, and as I said, a bar tab. This is plain text, so a left tab is fine. That is the default anyway. I could say OK, but the box would disappear and I want to carry on using it. I'd have to call it up again. So if I hit set, you can see that pops into the box of tabs that are sitting in this part of the document. My one for the price I'm going to put in here at about 12.5, so I'm going to replace the 2.5 with the 12.5 in the top box. These are prices, so again it needs to be a decimal, so I'm going to click on there, and I want dots leading up to those items. Down here I've got leaders, so you've got dot leaders, line leaders. They lead your eye across the page. If I look at this item number 2, I'm going to get dots underneath at the bottom, level with the bottom of the text. You can see that's going on here, and they will precede the tab stop. If I go with the dashes, number 3, they're halfway up the height of the text. If I go with number 4, they will give you a solid line at the bottom there, unlike the dots. So it's how you want it to look. I'm going to use the dots. I think that looks quite good. I'm going to say set. I don't actually have to do that. OK would set it anyway. So I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to recreate that list. If I press my tab key, I'm at the starting point. So the first thing is T. If I press tab, I've gone across the page with the dots leading my eye to where I need to be typing. So £1.20. Press enter. Again, it's remembered the tabs. When I press the tab key on the keyboard, I move to the same starting point. For coffee, tab across, and that is £2.50. Tab. There we go. Hot chocolate. Press tab, and that's definitely affordable at £1. Press enter. I've now got my organised list going on with tabs leading my eye across the page. Well, that's tabs. Thank you for watching.